Hey everyone, it's Shayna and I am here with a walkthrough of my Notion. So to clarify, this video is not sponsored. I wish. So if you haven't heard of Notion, it's a free all-in-one workspace that can be used for personal things like reading lists and task lists to student stuff like class notes and course schedules to even professional use like new hire onboarding and sales CRMs. It's a really powerful tool, but can be really intimidating at first. Before I even started with it, I watched so many YouTube videos about it. I started grabbing as many templates as I could just to see how other people set stuff up, and that made things easier for me to grasp how I wanted my Notion to be. I am 100% still a Notion beginner, but thanks to all the YouTube videos, Facebook groups, Instagram posts that I've seen, I'm really starting to get into using Notion much more. I found that there were a lot of things that just, to me, didn't make a whole lot of sense to put into a notebook because I couldn't sort it however I wanted. Like, for example, a reading list. I can add all of my books to a piece of paper, but if I buy a new book, I can't then sort that alphabetically anymore. So I really couldn't truly sort it and allow myself to add books to it. So I also have a reference planner, but that's kind of the same problem. You know, you can only write it in order so many times. Duplos are the worst sound on the planet. Anyway, I really prefer a good mix of analog and digital planning, and this is the bulk of my digital planning. So I run everything off of my dashboard, which is the first page I come to when I log into my Notion. This dashboard and everything linked in it is what I consider my external brain. I think this is from Getting Things Done by David Allen. I haven't read the book yet, on my list. Don't own it yet, but getting there. From what I understand, it's about getting things out of your brain and into a place that you can more easily access it and reference it without having to store it up here and try and remember it. So it frees your brain up for the important things and allows you to be more productive. So with all that said, let's get into my Notion tour.
Okay, so this is my Notion. So you can customize a lot of things. I'm not really trying to make this a Notion tutorial. I'm trying to make it a tour. So I'm not going to necessarily go through all these things you can customize or how to customize them, but you can change your cover. You can set icons for different pages. You can set the title of the page. So the title of my dashboard is cleverly The Foxy Den, or at least I think I'm clever sometimes. There is a dark mode and a light mode. I actually prefer dark mode for most things, but because the dark mode actually changes all of these colors from the pastel version that you see here to more of like a what you would think more of like retro vintage colors, and I'm not really a fan of those colors. I want the pastels on the dark mode, but since they don't do that, I have it in light mode. So my dashboard. The first thing I have here on the very top left here are the things that I use the most. Technically, all of these things can still be reached within this same page, but I put this up here because not only when I first load my Notion, but when I load it on the app that you can also download and access, you can access it on computer, you can access it on tablet and mobile. This makes it easier so I don't have to scroll down. I can just go straight to what I need. Usually when I'm popping in and actually need this, it's because it's something that I'm trying to do really fast and I don't want to poke around and click a bunch of times to get to where I need. It's just kind of a small time saver. So I have things in here like a quick link to my brain dump, my YouTube page, I have my Cebuano page, I have my Hangul page, I have or Korean, my planning page, which is about my planner, not actually planning anything, and then homeschool stuff, beauty and skincare, reading list, and Sims 4 mods and programs because I do play Sims 4 quite a bit. So that is something I include in here too. So those are all my quick links. I just use the same icon that I actually use on the page so that I know exactly what I need to go to. I'm a real big fan of the emojis. You can either use the pre-built emojis, either by adding one, or you can, like, there's a drop-down menu you can use, or you can just type in here, like I typed in brain, and you can get all of these. But you can also upload your own, which is really cool. So that's an option too. I just like these pre-built ones. I like having some color. I tried having more minimal ones, and I always try to do a minimal thing even in my planner, and it just never works for me. So I need me some color. But anyway, so for this widget that I have right here, this is a weather app, and I actually embedded this in. You can do embed and embed various things in here. But I created this, or not created, I customized this in weather.io. I actually got that link from Apption, Apption. And that is actually where I found the weather.io. It led me right to the website, which actually I tried just before I started filming this, and it looks like their link isn't working necessarily, but I can link it below. So basically you go to weather.io, you customize it how you want, you copy the code, and then you go back to Apption and you put your code in there, and it generates a link for you, and it keeps that app basically as a constant link for you. And then you can add it here, and it's customized for your location and how you choose. So you can choose different colors, you can choose different fonts, you can choose the size and like the icons, you can choose how many days you show. If you show this top part, it's really cool. There's other ones too, but that's the one I liked the most. So that's my local weather. So that's my top part. The next part is my this week section. I actually just added this this week, but basically I'm going to, I'd have to manually change each one of these dates each week. But the cool thing is it's basically just an overall task list of things that I don't necessarily need to do right away, but things I want to get done in this week. And I'm not sure what about this is different from my bullet journal, because I do still migrate things. If I happen to write it in my bullet journal, I will migrate it to my monthly task list if I don't get it done that day. But sometimes I still like seeing an overview like this, and I don't want to draw out weeklies anymore. I just never use them. I've never really needed both a weekly and a daily. Well, I've never needed a monthly, weekly, and daily. So right now I'm doing monthlies and dailies in my bullet journal. But in here I have the weekly, and this is just an overview of tasks. It's really easy. Sometimes I don't have my planner with me, but I do usually have my phone with me, so I can grab out my phone. And let's say I have, today is Thursday the 14th when I'm filming this. So if I come up here, this is a template that I made. I can configure it here. So I basically color coded this. I made it a to-do list option, so you can change, how it shows up. And I color coded it to green, and then I added this filming icon so that I know that that is for my YouTube, which is what I have Instagram and stuff, but the stuff I really like to track is my YouTube. So let's say I'm adding a task. I just move it to the day that I want it on, and there we go. Film Notion video. I'm doing that right now. So then I have it there. I have to email somebody. I've been putting this one off. The cool thing is that I can just move it to Friday, because most likely I won't get it done tonight. But then I have some no date stuff over here, and that's just wrapping some gifts I have. But I don't know what about, I can't really explain necessarily what about this I like over a written weekly, but I really like this. So next we have my habit tracker. This is a template I did get from someone. I'm going to link all of the templates that I used below. And this is a template that I got from somebody, and I customized it for myself. So this is before I knew what templates were, or how to make them rather, template buttons. So these template buttons up here I did create myself, but this launch new week one I did not create myself. This came in the template that I duplicated from someone. So in here, you can configure it, again, just like above, but you can configure your week. So basically, each week, I can come in, click this Launch New Week button, and it will create all this. So if I come in here and I add a new habit that I want to do, I can add it, I can add my emoji, whatever. And then when I come here and I click Launch New Week, it literally launches a new week. And I have to, there we go. That'll make it the whole size. But so basically I can do that. I can change the date so that it is for the 18th instead of, so it's for next Monday instead of this Monday. And then what I would do is I would actually move this one to the archive. So then I have this here. I can go into the archive and I can see my past weeks in order of earliest to latest. So there's that. I am really enjoying this piece of it. This has been such a great thing for me. I do have a habit tracker in my bullet journal, but for some reason, this one is just really working for me. So I have some things in this habit tracker that I do not have in my bullet journal, and I have some things in this habit tracker that I do. So I track it in multiple places, and those are some of the things that I really want to make sure that I'm keeping up with. So there's the habit tracker section. The cool thing about this is that when you go into the page, you can actually set your goal. Well, you can set that here as well. So you can set what days of the week, how many days a week you want to do this goal, and then you can actually come in and set your motivational message. So this is kind of before you complete your goal, this is what you want it to say, and then when you have completed it, it changes to this. This is the part that I'm not entirely sure yet how to do. I have kind of fiddled with it a little bit, but not too much, so I'm just going to keep using this template. It's working for me really a lot. I may change these statuses here eventually, but for right now, I'm just getting into the hang of using this and getting myself into the routine of, into the habit of using my habit tracker. Okay. My next section here, I just kind of made this cute pastel border here using the different background colors that they have. So they have a couple different colors and background colors. And I just added that in there. It looks really funky on mobile, but it looks fine here. And when I'm in my mobile version, I am not in it to do any designing. I design it for desktop. I access it on mobile. So I know that things are going to look a little funky in mobile. I don't change anything in there. I just add stuff. I don't really, and add and delete. I don't update or change where things are. So anyway, this next section is my stuff section, as you can see. I have a lot of stuff here. So for me, it was easiest for me to see this in a gallery type view. You do have different options, so you can see it in a table, a Kanban board, a timeline, which is new for them, a calendar view, a list view, and a gallery view. It is really neat, the different options that they give you. This is the gallery view, so basically you can customize what image shows up for each thing. I have picked a cover page for each of these, and that is the image that is shown. So when I go into my beauty and skincare page, the picture that is shown up here is the picture that was shown before, you could see. So this is a template that I did get from someone, and it's really one of my favorite pages. I don't access it very much anymore now that I have it all set up, but I love this. I do have this breadcrumb that you can add so you can get back to your stuff. My dashboard, my stuff gallery, basically. So this, I have it in table and I have it in gallery form, which I really like. But I use the table form the most. So in here, I have different beauty, skincare, body products that I have used or have prepared to, like I have waiting to be used. So I have the name, I have what it is, so I have that color coded. In here I have skincare is green, body is yellow, makeup as pink, and then other beauty as purple, so that I can easily see which items I have. I have, if I want to buy it again, I have a must buy section, I'll buy it again, a to try section of things that I haven't actually tried, but I do have already. Things that I will never buy again, and things that I'm not entirely sure on, I haven't decided on yet. So I have by brand, color, and scent. I have a start date simply because I don't really necessarily need it, I guess. I could probably remove the start and end dates for most of these things. I want to keep them in there for the things that I'm never going to use again, I guess. For some reason, I like to see when I last used it. I have a rating if I had a reaction to anything, which then I have it sorted so that this goes down to the bottom. Notes and the image, and that image is what's used for the gallery view. So then in here, I can also show all of this stuff. So, you know, the brand, what it is, the type of product it is, if I had a reaction, stuff like that. You can see, and I can pick and choose what of those properties I show in here. So that's the beauty and skincare. I don't really do much. You know, if you go into the table view, you can actually open this as a page, but I don't have any notes or anything in here because I put them in this notes section. So going back to my stuff, now this didn't bring me back to my dashboard. It brought me back to my stuff gallery database. So in here, the next thing I have is this FBD section. And this is my nickname at work. So this is my work section. I only use this section when I absolutely am swamped. When I need to sit down and basically brain dump all the things that I have to do, figure it all out. I have things at work that I can use, but this just works for me for figuring things out more. So I come in here, I write some meeting notes, I used to have a whole lot more in here, and I delete it once I'm done with it, and I just leave this page here in case I need it again. My next section is finances, and I have not put a whole lot into this. I'm still not entirely sure if I'm going to be using this. I have my finances in another place. I don't want to add too much personal information out here, so I really right now am just using this for bills basically, and when, you know, I can sort it by if it was paid, what kind of expense it is. I haven't really laid this out too much. I've input a few things, but nothing super much, basically. So I thought I'd show it, but I don't have a whole lot in here. My next section is the house section. So this one has a whole lot of templates that I have not customized. I'm still going to show them, but I have not customized a lot of these. So in the house section itself, I do have some to-do lists. So washing our curtains, cleaning the office. We have so many boxes from Christmas. My goodness. Blinds for my office. And then we just started tonight moving my books upstairs to the bookshelf up there. And it's just kind of a quick to-do list. And then there's projects, which this project we haven't started. I just added it today just to get it out of my mind. But I also have this emergency prep plan. Now, this is a Notion provided template. They do have, when you come in here, you can go to templates, and they have a whole bunch of templates that they give you or that other people have shared to the Notion template database. So this used to be an earthquake prep plan, but I'm in the Midwest. We don't really have earthquakes, so I changed it to emergency prep plan. I have not customized a single bit of this template. This is all how Notion created it. But I really, really liked how they set it up, and I really want to use that as kind of a guideline for how I want to set it up for us. So it has supply lists, it has recommended supplies, more resources for various things. I, again, have not gone through this, but I wanted to keep it here. Other templates that I know I won't customize anytime soon, I delete. And then if I come back to it, I know I really want to customize it. This one I'm keeping here because I have to do this. We really need a preparedness plan. So I have that. Another Notion provided template is this family disaster plan. And this is not any of my information. This is, again, Notion provided. It was originally called a disaster prep plan, and I just changed the name a little bit, but all this information was how Notion provides it to you. So I thought it was really cool. There's contact information, pet information, a plan of action. I mean, obviously some of this, Notion doesn't really have an offline version. Well, they don't have an offline version right now. So this is only helpful if you have an offline version, because if you don't have internet or if you don't have self-service in a real emergency, you're SOL, you're not going to be able to find this page. But I still liked some of this information. I may not fill in all of this contact information, but I just kept this page as is because I duplicated it and just left it. I believe this is from a Notioneer. this template. Winter storm preparedness checklist, again, Midwest. So I wanted to keep this list to make sure, I haven't touched any of this stuff, but there's so much information here. I really want to go through it all and tailor it to us. So there's that. And then something that I actually added from a YouTube video I watched is this 72-hour bug out bag. And it's basically a video where they rapid fire went through all the different things they put in their kids' bug out bags. And I thought it was really handy to have references to. So I wrote down notes of everything they put into their bags and put it in here. The other things I have in here, a lot of these aren't really filled out. So this quick measurements isn't filled out yet, but I really like the idea of being able to have that because I write them down in like my planners and stuff. And then I either lose the insert if it's rings or TN, or I wrote it down in a notebook and I don't remember where it is. So I liked having the idea of having these measurements here. There's also this maintenance list. I don't know who I got this from, but this is extensive. Again, needs to be customized to us. This is just a template, but I liked the idea of that. And there's some stuff in there that I don't know that I've actually thought about ever doing. So there's that. And then this is a template for clothes. So if you have ever heard of a capsule wardrobe, you kind of, well, that's more of like bringing your wardrobe down to certain items based on season. But even if you don't do that, it's really cool to kind of have an inventory of your clothes, especially if you pack some away for winter or whatever. You can kind of go through things in here. I don't actually know who I got this from, unfortunately, and I have not tailored this to me at all. Like there's outfit number here. I probably won't ever use that. I won't ever use probably the wear dates, but I do like that they have this alternative. So if this black and gray baseball shirt is needing to be washed, I need to wear something tonight, I can alternate it with one of these. I really like that. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to use all of these items, but I really like the idea of it. So I'm keeping it here to go through. So that's my house section. Next up is my language hub. So I am currently learning 2 languages, and I just today decided to re-pick up my 3rd because I guess I like torturing myself. So I'll just go with this one. The first language I was learning was actually Korean, but I am also learning Cebuano. So in here, I have some resources. These are basically all of the resources I could find on Cebuano Bisayan. There's not a whole lot out there because everything for Filipino is Tagalog, and my family does not speak Tagalog. So I went with this instead, obviously, and I gathered all the resources I could find. In here, I have a journal section, but I haven't written anything. This is for when I'm a little more fluent and can write journal entries in Cebuano. I just want to practice that writing or typing, I guess, in that instance. And then I have a vocabulary section. So in here, I have a table sorted by word. So I have the word, what it means, how, in my mind, not all of these are like what it actually... if I gave these to somebody else, they'd be like, what the heck is this? But to me, these make sense, and it makes me pronounce it properly-ish. So I put pronunciations in there. I put what it is, if it's a word or a phrase. I put what progress it is. So if I already knew this, like ako, I knew from the past. So I also have past phone app if I learned it from a book, if I learned it from my mom, a website, or a podcast. And then in here, if I've learned it, if I know it, if you say this to me, I should know what it is, I mark it as learned. If I'm having a problem with pronunciation, I mark it as pronunciation. Otherwise, I don't have anything else in there. But if I needed it, I could add stuff in there. So this is all of the stuff I have in here so far. And then I have notes, actually. So down here, like I have a note that my mom mentioned to me. So, and like this one down here at the very bottom, I have a hard time pronouncing because I actually started learning Korean first. And so I've been getting used to the way Korean pronunciation is. And for some reason, this word, because of Korean pronunciation, I pronounce it wrong every time. And it's really funny to me that I keep getting them mixed up and I don't understand why. But anyway, so I just added notes in there as well. But I can also sort it by what words I have problems with. So then I can focus on these words. I do try to practice my Cebuano multiple times a week. So then basically what I could do is I could come in here either each day that I practice or at the end of the week and add my new vocab in here. And then it's just, I have it in my bullet journal because that's where I take my notes, but then I also have it in here to sort and kind of figure other things out. So that's where I take my preliminary notes, and then I transfer it into here so that it helps me kind of solidify what I'm learning. So if I go back, I'm going to go back and go to Korean. So in here, again, I have references, resources. Not as many because I have, the one for Cebuano is where I actually created the list of resources and try to remind myself, but this one I have a ton of resources to learn Korean. So this is just a few other things. I also have a journal section here. This is a K-pop section, but again, have a vocab section. So not as many things in here. I made this list first, and the reason I made this list is because I really wanted to go through and write out all the words I could think of off the top of my head. And the count here is 44. 40 of these words I was able to come up with on my own, and that made me feel so good because I haven't really been actively learning this necessarily. Like, I'm not really going gung-ho on it, but I have, I guess, my low-key active, I don't know, passively learning it in a sense, I guess, but I'm picking things up as I go. And then I did start doing Duolingo more, and I do have Rosetta Stone that I'm going to start again. But this made me feel really good that I was actually making progress in it. So I just have been adding things. And then, like, I have notes in here. So this one here, I have some notes in here about what it is, or, you know, a couple more. Yeah, I don't know. These notes are kind of random, I guess, but a little bit of randomness. I'm probably going to take the vocab table in my Cebuano section and import some of those same columns into this. I just haven't done it yet. So next, the other two, Espanol and Norwegian, I haven't even touched these pages yet. Spanish, I literally just, I have taken two years of classes in it, but I don't remember anything because that was so long ago. So I just started it again today, and I did so bad. I did so bad. I did remember some of the conjugation at least, but yeah. Anyway, so that's my language hub. Next is this Little Fox Learn section. And this is our, air quotes, homeschool section. We are doing essentially homeschool, but my kid is not of age to actually be in school, so that's why I always hesitate to call it homeschool, because people like to give you side eye when you call it homeschool and they're not even of age yet. But we are homeschooling. We are doing units and things, no formal curriculum. I'm just gathering stuff. But so right now we're learning about space, stars, and planets. This is something that my kid specifically asked to do. So this is just a task list of things that I wanted to get done as we kind of work on this. And then I have a whole list of activities and books and other media that we can consume. So these are all the books that I do have. I usually add the photos of the book. I haven't done that for a lot of these. And then I also have these shows. There are some also in here and some activities in here that we've already done. And then these activities are all things that I also have queued up. We take some time with our units now, so there's a whole lot of stuff here. But the other one I have, these other two I don't have a whole lot in, but the human body, we did a month and a half, I think, on the human body, and there's a whole lot of stuff in here. There's all kinds of videos and stuff on the human body, so I was able to, it just keeps going. But the cool thing is, so this blood model in a bottle, I'm able to put the items that I need and give a link to the actual place I got this activity idea from. So this lung experiment, again, I have the link to where I can get the information from and then the items needed. So I thought that was really cool. Next is my media section. So this is books, my Skillshare, games, shows, movies. So I'm going to go to my reading list last because that's the one I enjoy the most. So my shows, movies, there's not a whole lot in here. It's just a table that has a bunch of things. I went through like my Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix. Oh, actually, I haven't gone through Netflix yet, I think. YouTube a little bit, and added things in here. So the length is like, it's an hour and 51 minutes long, so that's just kind of how I did it. I could probably change this to text, but I hadn't thought that far ahead yet. I was really trying to do this fast. I have different tags for what it is, what type of, drama and historical, and what the progress is on it, what type it is, so movie, TV show, or video, what service it's on. The next thing I have is games. So this is video and board games. The video games list I actually got as a template from somebody. I can link that below too. A lot of the stuff I don't know if I've actually customized. Did I? Oh, I must have deleted a lot of their stuff. Okay, yeah. So this is like constant games that don't really have an end for me. I can just play them whenever. I have a 2 playlist. This is not all of my stuff. I haven't really gone through and done this yet. Board games is actually just a copy of the video games. I haven't done anything with it, but we do have quite a few board games. Sims 4 mods and programs. A lot of Sims 4 stuff because I play that a lot. So in-game stuff, which is like the degrees, because I reference that a lot, and so I figured I'd just put it in here because then I don't have to keep Googling for it. So I have the link and everything. I have an all careers thing, the collections, and then all the packs and when they were released and stuff, because I did this mostly as a one-time thing and I've just kind of kept it going. But anyway. Next is Skillshare. I just got Skillshare and I've only taken this one class. Definitely rated it 5 stars, but this is for obviously that. So the big thing, my reading list. This is the main reason I love Notion. So this is not all of my books. Let me be clear. This is not all of the books I have read, want to read. Yeah, this is not everything. This is just all the stuff I have actually on my Kindle or have recently purchased. So this is all books, and I have it done by status. So all my finished books are down here. So Good Morning, Good Life by Amy Schmittauer-Landino, I just finished today. So obviously in here, I have the name of the book, the author, the amount of pages, because sometimes I just want a quick book to read, a rating, the status, and the type of book it is. I haven't really fleshed this out much, but that's all well and good. You can obviously do that in a bullet journal or a notebook of any kind, analog style. My problem came in is that sometimes I want to sort by name, sometimes I want to sort by page count, which this isn't properly doing, but I can fix that later. Sometimes I want to just filter out the things that are to be read. Sometimes I want to filter out just the stuff that I am currently reading. So, if I really wanted to read a romance novel or something, I could put in the type of romance novel and then I could make a view and show just the romance novels and pick from that. And you cannot do that in an analog system, and that always drove me bonkers. I would make these reading lists in my bullet journal, and then I would never use them because I would want it sorted by book name, and then I would add a book and it wasn't in order anymore. And for some things, I am perfectly cool with that. I don't mind it not being in order. But for something like this, where I'm going to be looking for something specific, it would just be way too much time and energy to go and find that book wherever it was. And if I don't remember the name, forget it. So I like this. This for my reading list. This is amazing. But the best thing besides that is that I have the ability to add notes. So, things I want to incorporate, questions I want to ask myself. I have a ton of quotes. At the bottom, I actually have an excerpt from the book that really stuck with me. Currently, I'm reading the bullet journal method. So if you come in here is the bullet journal method. I wrote it down in my bullet journal and transferred the notes here because that transfer makes me review my notes and helps me learn it better. And now I have it here for if ever I want to reflect on it or go back and change something or whatever. So I really, this section, this part, these notes is what sold me on using Notion for my reading list. So there's that. I do want to eventually add like a picture of the book, and then I can have a gallery view here, but that's not super important. So, and then down here, I have some articles to read in my actual page, not in my gallery. So this database is actually a separate thing. So you saw when I went to my reading list, if I open it as a page and I go here, this doesn't have that paperclip. So if I go here, it's just my gallery. Versus if I go to the one with the paperclip, that's my actual media page. I could rename this to anything. I could name it to Hootalolly and it would show up there instead. But I have this articles to read. I could put that in my reading list, but it would get so lost in that I put them here instead. So that's my media section. Next is my noms section. So I haven't really done a whole lot on this right now. I have a local food list of places that we can choose from because we have a hard time choosing if we want to eat out. But the main thing that I use this for, or have in the past, I haven't imported everything, obviously. You can see there's not a whole lot here, would be these recipes. So this lemon blueberry bread, let me open this as a page. I have the link, I have the tags. If I open it, I actually have the ingredients and the directions, tips, nutrition facts straight from this blog post. So I don't actually have to go to the blog post. I can just go straight to my Notion. I know what it's supposed to look like. I know what it's called. I know if it's an appetizer, side, whatever, which this can actually be not a want to try because we have tried this. And yeah, I have all the ingredients and stuff here. So I have actually had it where the blog post disappears and I can never find that recipe again. I have also had it where I couldn't access the blog post for whatever reason. So not that it was gone, I just couldn't access it. So this was easier. And in my brain, it's easier for me to go to my Notion for things versus trying to find a blog post in like Pinterest. So there's that. That's my noms page. Next one is plannerings, which is kind of what my husband and I call my planner stuff. I have a brain dump here. I haven't used it yet. I actually just added it today, but that's kind of where I can just type out stuff if I want to. Sometimes I write out a brain dump. Sometimes I type it up. It depends on what I'm feeling at that moment. I do have a list of items to sell here. I'm not going to show that. I also have a do not buy list of shops I will never buy from again and put the various reasons in there. Planner shops. So I also have my 2021 planner lineup in here. Down at the bottom, I have some custom planner ideas, but then in here, I actually have laid out what I wanted for each of my planners for 2021. So that everyday carry is my B6stology. The reference planner is my pocket rings. My homeschool planner is a different B6stology I haven't even gotten yet. And then the other is where I would keep other things specific. So like journal, I would have two places for that. YouTube management, I keep in my reference planner and Notion. So There's that. And then I have reference stuff here. This planner timeline was the dumbest thing I've ever spent a night on. I'm not even going to show it. That's why it has an X. It's basically a timeline of when I use different planners. This one's an inside joke. I'm not going to go through that either. But this mild liners is a list of all the mild liners, and I do eventually want to add a color image as well to show that. So that it can, and I obviously have if I own it or not, but then if I add the color, it can be more like my Tombos page, which I have in here by number, name, if I own it, if it's a new color after the 96 they originally had. And then I actually took from Tombo's reference chart of all of their all of their dual brush pens, the image. So that when I come in here, I like clipped these, that's why they're all different sizes. But if I come in here and I go to any of these, so this first one is the table image, the rest of these are gallery. So if I go to the ones that I own, here we go. Here's all the Tombos that I own, and here's the colors and the number and the name. And this has helped me out so many times now. And then obviously the ones that I don't own, I can come in here and also see those colors and see if I want to get those or not. That has been super helpful so far. I'm not going to go into this. It's just a notes section for something specific. And then my Foxicorn sections. This is for my YouTube. So I have goals, tasks that I want to do, content stuff, which none of these things are filled in whatsoever, which I think is funny. And then I have my content calendar. So in here I have videos that I have published, videos that I'm planning on doing, like this video right here is actually what I'm filming right now. I have a task list within here, so you can actually make a template for this section right here, the setup and film, edit, upload, post-production. And so if I go in here and add one, you can select this YouTube video and it automatically populates with your task list, whatever you set it as, which is really neat. So that's how I lay out my calendar and my content, basically. So next is stuff. It is what it is. It's just like a random filing cabinet, basically. So I have dream journal postings in here of different dreams I've had. I have a note in here about parenting, about consequences from a friend, favorite parts of songs, which there's nothing in there yet. This is something I wanted since I was a kid for some reason. I added it. I just haven't done anything with it. Songs to download, quotes to remember. So it's just random stuff, and I can add to it as I want. Next is a vision board, but I haven't actually done this, so I'm not even going to go into it. But basically, when I get in my yearly reflection, I'll show you what I kind of want it to look like. But my wish list is just a wish list. That's it. That's all that's on it. Not a whole lot. But I thought that was kind of cool because, if I get asked what I want for my birthday or something and I can never remember, I have a list. Yearly reflection is something I just added recently as I was trying to come up with my word of the year. I had these separated before, but so basically in here I have my word of the year section. I have my past words and my current word. I have a blog post here that I actually copied into this page so that I could go through it and actually type out stuff in here. This helped me come up with 2 or 3 of my words. So like 2018 was balance, 2019 was revise, 2020 was simplify, and for simplify I just had a list of things to declutter. 2021 I had chosen intentional initially. I didn't even do anything with that. That was so short-lived. But reset was the word that I had chosen after that, and this is all I had done for it. I really wasn't vibing with it very much, but it was something that made sense and I liked it more than the rest of them, so I went with it until I could find a better word, and then I found the better word. So here's my better word, connect. So I have the dictionary definitions. I have my definition down here. I have tasks I can do to achieve these things. It's really cool. It's basically just a list of stuff. So that's how I figured out my word of the year. And then my 2021 here, these are all down here are focuses that I want to focus on for 2021. And then I'm not going to go into these, but this 2020 review page, I actually went through and made, like I went through January, everything that I had done, me, my family, the world, my country had done in reference to certain things in January, I wrote down. So if I went out with friends, any of my therapy appointments, my husband started some online D&D campaigns. I added all of his D&D stuff. I added anything about the pandemic, the election, Black Lives Matter, work stuff. I added all kinds of things to this review. I went through everything that was important to me in 2020, basically. And that was, I don't really need that list anymore. I'm just keeping it there for a reminder to do it at the end of 2021. But it was basically something kind of like when I was talking about transferring stuff from my bullet journal to my Notion. It's kind of a way for me to review it, and I don't really need to retain that information. This Nest Labs annual review was actually how I got these focuses below. That is a template I got from somebody in a Facebook group, and they actually adapted that from this Nest Labs annual review. The Nest Labs annual review is not this Notion page. Somebody adapted that annual review into this Notion page, and that actually really helped me pick out my focuses for the year. So going back to this one, which is just Notion stuff, I'm going to link all of my templates here so that I don't have to keep searching for them. I had to spend some time today searching for them. I'm going to link them all there, and then I've got just some articles I want to check out. And then I have my archive, which this is basically going to house stuff that I don't need access to anymore. I could probably move my yearly reflection 2020 review page into here too, but I wanted to keep it in there. So this right now only has my 2020 Christmas page that I had, and it was a template that I can link below, but it was a template somebody created that it was insane, the amount of things that this person put in there. You can detail out your entire Christmas menu, like your entire dinner broken down by ingredient and price. And you can put people in your life that you want to buy presents for. And then you can link those people and actually put their presents in a list. There's a presents list, and then link that present to that person. And then you can kind of see what you're buying for each person, how much you're spending on each person. It ties back to your budget that you set for presents or whatever. It's all like a relational thing. It is so, so cool. I can link that below, and you definitely should check that out for next Christmas, because if you're going to get Notion, it's really handy. That's how I tracked all of our Christmas presents. There's a Christmas card section, whatever. It's really cool. So I deleted out some sections. That's why I'm kind of forgetting some, but I really like that.
So like I said, there are so many things you can do with Notion. These are just the things that I've added so far, but I love that you can add whatever you need whenever you need it, or delete whatever you don't need anymore. Since incorporating Notion into my planner system, I have noticed a massive uptick in my productivity. I am by nature a fairly lazy person. I like to do as little as possible, but with Notion, I'm able to kind of combat my natural lazy state and actually get things done. Although I do mostly attribute this to the fact that I am no longer keeping this stuff up in my brain. Yeah. The idea of the external brain is not one I've really delved into much, but if this is anywhere close to what it is, I am in. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I always greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Action. Quiet.